Are you a millennial or part of Gen Z struggling to keep your finances in check? You're not alone. Many of your peers are faced with the same financial hurdles. The burden of student loans, the high cost of living, and the challenge of making ends meet with a low income. It may seem like an uphill battle, but there's a solution that can help you navigate these financial waters. Budgeting. Budgeting isn't just about cutting down on your Starbucks visits or saying no to that new pair of sneakers. It's about understanding where your money goes and making strategic decisions that can help you achieve your financial goals. It's about gaining control over your financial life so you can live without the cloud of monetary stress hovering over your head. Budgeting can be your financial lifesaver. Let's dive into some tips on how to budget effectively. Firstly, you need to understand your income and expenses. Imagine you're on a road trip. Your income is your fuel, and your expenses are the miles you travel. You can't plan your journey without knowing how much gas you have and how far you're going. The same principle applies to your financial journey. Understanding your income and expenses is the first step towards financial freedom. Think of it as financial mindfulness, being aware of every dollar that comes in and every dollar that goes out. This awareness is vital because it allows you to see where your money is going, identify unnecessary expenses, and plan for future savings or investments. Now you might be wondering, how do I track my income and expenses? Well, the good news is, there are several ways to do this, and you can choose what works best for you. Option 1 is using a budgeting app. There are plenty of them out there. These apps can link to your bank accounts and credit cards, automatically categorizing and tracking your income and expenses. They also offer useful features like setting spending limits and sending alerts when you're close to exceeding your budget. Option 2 is using a spreadsheet. If you're a fan of Excel or Google Sheets, this might be the method for you. You can create categories for your income and expenses and update it regularly. This method requires a bit more effort, but it gives you full control and a detailed overview of your finances. Lastly, if you're more old school, you can use the pen and paper method. Just like with a spreadsheet, you create categories for your income and expenses, but you write them down in a notebook or on a piece of paper. This method can be quite therapeutic and gives you a real, tangible connection to your finances. Remember, the goal here is not to find the perfect system, but to find a system that works for you. One that you can stick to consistently, because consistency is key. Once you have a clear picture of your income and expenses, you can start planning your budget. And that, my friends, is where the magic happens. Stay tuned for our next scene where we'll dive into creating a realistic budget. Creating a realistic budget is the key to successful financial management. It's like a lighthouse that guides your financial ship through the murky waters of bills, unexpected expenses, and savings goals. But how do we create a budget that's not only realistic but also fits our personal lifestyle and financial goals? First, let's understand what a budget is. It's a plan for your money, a way to tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. It's not about denying yourself pleasures or living on a shoestring. It's about making conscious choices about what you do with your hard-earned cash. To create a budget, begin with your net income, the money you bring home after taxes and other deductions. This is your starting point, the well from which all your spending, saving, and investing will flow. Next, list all your expenses. Be meticulous. Include everything from your rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, to your daily cup of coffee. Don't forget occasional expenses like holidays, birthday gifts, or car maintenance. Now divide these expenses into two categories: fixed expenses that stay the same each month, and variable expenses that fluctuate. This way you can see where your money is going and where you might be able to make changes. The next step is to set financial goals. Whether it's saving for a vacation, paying off debt, or building an emergency fund, having clear goals will give your budget purpose and you a motivation to stick to it. Once you've got all this information, you can create your budget. There are many budgeting methods out there, from the 50-30-20 rule to zero-based budgeting. Choose one that suits your lifestyle and financial goals. And remember, a budget is not set in stone. It needs to be flexible. Life changes, and so will your income, expenses, and goals. Regularly reviewing and adjusting your budget is crucial to keep it realistic and effective. Remember, the goal of budgeting is not to restrict your spending, but to control it. It's about making informed decisions that help you reach your financial goals. It's about taking charge of your money and, ultimately, your life. Unexpected expenses can put a dent in your budget, but you can avoid this by saving for emergencies. Imagine it's a sunny day, and you're cruising down the highway in your favorite ride. Suddenly you hear a loud noise, and your car grinds to a halt. You're stranded in the middle of the road with a broken-down car. Or, picture this. You wake up one morning to find out that your fridge isn't working, and all your groceries have gone bad. These are emergencies, and they can happen to anyone, at any time. Let's face it, life is unpredictable, and while we can't control when or what type of emergencies will occur, we can prepare for them financially. That's where an emergency fund comes in handy. It's money set aside specifically for unforeseen expenses. It's your financial safety net, ready to catch you when you fall. Now you're probably wondering, how do I start saving for this emergency fund? Well, it's simpler than you might think. Start by determining how much you need to save. A good rule of thumb is to have enough to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses. This might seem like a lot, but remember, the goal is to have enough to keep you afloat during tough times without resorting to debt. Next, consider allocating a certain percentage of your income to this fund. 10% is a great starting point, but if that seems too much, start with 5%. The important thing is to start saving, no matter how small the amount may seem. Make it automatic. Set up a direct deposit from your paycheck to your emergency fund. This way you're saving without even thinking about it. And before you know it, you'll have a substantial fund to fall back on when those unexpected expenses come knocking. Remember, an emergency fund isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It's about securing your financial future and giving yourself peace of mind. So start today, start now. Every dollar saved is a step towards financial stability. An emergency fund can provide a financial safety net and give you peace of mind. Debt can be a heavy burden, but with a good budgeting strategy, you can lighten the load. To tackle this, we need to make debt repayment an integral part of our budget. So, where do we start? First, list out all your debts. This includes credit cards, student loans, car loans, personal loans, and any other obligations you may have. Now it's time to decide on a repayment strategy. There are 2 popular methods out there, the snowball method and the avalanche method. Let's take a closer look at each. The snowball method involves paying off your smallest debts first, regardless of the interest rates. You throw every extra dollar you have at that small debt until it's gone. Then, you roll the amount you were paying on that debt to the next smallest one. Like a snowball rolling down a hill, your payments gain momentum, and before you know it, you've wiped out your debts. On the other hand, the avalanche method focuses on paying off the debt with the highest interest rate first while making minimum payments on the rest. Once the highest interest debt is paid off, you move on to the next highest, and so on. This method can save you more in interest over time, but it requires discipline and patience. So, which strategy should you choose? It depends on what motivates you. If you're driven by quick wins and need to see progress to stay motivated, the snowball method might be for you. If you're more analytical and want to save the most money in the long run, you might lean towards the avalanche method. Remember, paying off debt is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It requires consistent effort and a commitment to stick to your budget. It might be tough sometimes, but imagine the freedom and peace of mind you'll feel when you're finally debt-free. Paying off debt can be a long journey, but with persistence and a good budget, you can make it happen. So what have we learned today about budgeting? To navigate the twists and turns of financial life, we've discovered the importance of understanding our income and expenses. It's the first step in creating a realistic budget, which is like a roadmap to your financial goals. We've recognized that it's not about limiting ourselves, but making informed decisions on where our money goes. Next, we've stressed the significance of saving for emergencies. Life is unpredictable, and having a safety net can make all the difference when facing unexpected expenses. And let's not forget about paying off debts. It's not an overnight task, but every step taken towards reducing your debt is a step closer to financial freedom. Budgeting is not a one-and-done deal. It's a continuous process, like a journey. And like any journey, it becomes easier when you have the right guidance. So don't forget to subscribe for more financial tips and strategies. Remember, budgeting is a journey, not a destination. Subscribe for more financial tips and strategies. Thank you for watching.